Cam Ward is the consensus top quarterback in the 2025 NFL draft, but his route to being a top pick is anything but ordinary. Ward was born in West Columbia, Texas on May 25th, 2002, and he attended and played football at Columbia High School, which was also a pretty unique situation and scheme that he had to play in. You see, at Columbia, they utilized the wing T offense, which is primarily running the football like 90% of the time. So his high school stats are honestly not that extraordinary. His best season, he only threw 124 passes for 1,070 yards and 7 touchdowns. And because of that, the only scholarship offer he had out of high school was to the University of the Incarnate Word. It's a private Roman Catholic university, and its main campus is in San Antonio, so relatively close to where Cam Ward grew up. But obviously, this was not a major Division I program. They were labeled in the FCS division, but Ward, with not many options, decided to attend there and see how things went. And in his first season in 2020, it was another hurdle that Ward would have to overcome, as the season was shut down pretty early on due to COVID. They played only 6 games in the spring, but Ward still had himself a really good campaign. He completed 60% of his passes for 2,200 yards and 24 touchdowns, which led the entire FCS. But it was really the following season in 2021 when his entire career path changed. He brought Word to a 10-3 record while completing 65% of his passes for 4,600 yards, 47 touchdowns to only 10 interceptions. And that is when he begun to get a ton of interest from other major Division I programs. And the school that ended up wanting him the most was Washington State. And in early 2022, Ward announced his commitment to transfer to the school. And you would think the jump from playing from an FCS school to a Power 5 program would be a huge jump, but that really wasn't the case for Ward. In his first season there, he totaled 28 touchdowns to 9 interceptions and had 3,200 yards passing. He came back in 2023 and again had an even better season, completing a career high 66% of his passes, throwing for 3,700 yards and totaling 33 touchdowns in his junior season. I remember vividly after the 2023 college season, people were talking about Ward maybe being like a 4th or 5th round pick in the 2024 NFL draft, but instead of forfeiting his last season and entering the draft, he again decided to take another step in his career and go to the ACC to play for the Miami Hurricanes, one of the more historic programs in college football. And this past season really couldn't have gone better for Ward. He again set a ton of career highs, completing 67% of his passes for 4,300 yards, 43 combined touchdowns to only 7 interceptions, and led Miami to 10 wins, which was one of their best seasons in the last few years. And I think most people agree that if Miami just had a semblance of a defense, he would have had a great chance to win the Heisman Trophy and also be able to compete in the college football playoffs. But nonetheless, it was a fantastic season for Ward, and we've really seen him grow as a passer and player every single year of his collegiate career. And now he finds himself as the overwhelming favorite to be the #1 pick in this upcoming draft. And I do think whether it is the Tennessee Titans or another team that trades up with them, he will in fact be the first player off the board. And Ward as a prospect is a very fascinating player because he does showcase a lot of top-end talent that a lot of the other elite quarterbacks in the NFL have. I mean, most of his top plays for Miami this past year was him making some very nice plays off script, juking out 3 to 4 defensive linemen behind the line of scrimmage, doing a couple of spin moves, and then throwing a pass down the field. We saw it time and time again. He showcases some nice arm talent as well with some sidearm packages, him being able to fit the ball into some tight windows because he does have some good arm strength and accuracy to pair with it. And so when you are an NFL team and you are going to take a quarterback top 3 in the draft, you better make sure that he has the potential to be an elite quarterback or be relatively close to being one in a few years down the line. And I feel like unlike anybody else in this draft class, Cam Ward has the clearest path to being a really good quarterback at the next level. I would like to point out a couple of concerns that I do have is I don't think his athleticism is great. We saw him get away with a lot of things and playing off script week in and week out for Miami, but how is it going to translate when players like Max Crosby or Aiden Hutchinson are the ones chasing him down and not some future car salesman or tax attorney? So I don't think his mobility will translate and his off-script playmaking will translate as well as it appeared in college. So what that means is he's gonna have to learn to play in the confines of the offense a bit more consistent. We did see at times, like especially when he was running RPOs for the Hurricanes, being able to process information, diagnose what defenses were doing, and be able to find the open man and get the ball to them accurately. But if we take somebody like Caleb Williams, for example, who was really inconsistent as a rookie, this is something that he struggled with as well, as being able to do that consistently in a down-to-down basis. You should not be commonly relying on your off-script playmaking as an NFL quarterback. That skill set should only really be used when a play breaks down or you're in trouble with like getting sacked. And so if Cam Ward is going to reach his true ceiling, that is something that he has to work on and be better with. And that is where coaching comes into play and him having to have somebody that can kind of train that into him as a player. And the man that's likely going to be in charge of developing Ward is Brian Callahan of the Tennessee Titans. And he does have some really good experience of being the offensive coordinator for one of the best on-script players in the entire league in Joe Burrow. And the Titans the last couple of off seasons have been really trying to build a nice foundation for whatever their future quarterback would be. They thought at one point that would be Will Levis, who they drafted early in the second round. But yeah, I don't think that could have gone much worse so far. But I mean, like in the 2023 offseason, they went out and got Tony Pollard. They got Calvin Ridley as well, some pretty solid weaponry. They've invested a lot of resources into the offensive line. Their top pick in the last couple of drafts on J.C. Latham and Peter Skronsky. They paid a huge contract to Dan Moore Jr. in this past free agency, which a lot of people weren't a huge fan of. But at the end of the day, getting a solid left tackle who's in the prime of his career is going to take a premium price to bring him in. And then they also got Kevin Zeitler to kind of be that veteran on the offensive line. He is older at 34 years old, but still a really good player. But I really like what the Titans have done the last couple of years, kind of just building a brick wall up front. I do think Tennessee could go after another receiver. I don't think Treylon Burks will ever prove to be worth the first round pick they spent on him. I think Van Jefferson is a fine third option, but he should not be the second receiver in your offense. So I think it's likely that in day 2 of the NFL draft, we see Tennessee take another weapon pretty early on. And then even in the middle rounds for Tennessee, like Xavier Restrepo, getting somebody that had a lot of chemistry with Cam Ward makes a lot of sense to me as well. I mean, being able to put him in the slot and then maybe Calvin Ridley and Van Jefferson out wide could be a pretty solid wide receiver trio. But all the speculation early in the offseason about the Titans maybe taking Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, even trading the pick has kind of all been thrown out of the window recently because of what they did in this free agency. They did not go out and pay a premium for a veteran bridge quarterback. They're not in the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes. They're not in the Russell Wilson sweepstakes. So it's really all setting up for the Titans to go all in on Cam Ward. And again, I think that is the proper and right decision. If you compare Ward to other quarterback prospects in recent drafts, like last year, Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, yeah, maybe Ward isn't the greatest #1 quarterback prospect for a draft class, but as I stated earlier, he does showcase some of that talent that elite quarterbacks do have, where I would still feel comfortable drafting him #1 overall in a draft and still have faith in him being able to develop into becoming a really good player. Now, expectations for his rookie season, I don't want to sound crazy, but I do think the Titans could be better than what a lot of people expect. I don't want to compare it to the Broncos or Commanders last season with their rookie quarterbacks because both of those teams just had tremendous seasons. But I think Tennessee being in the 7 to 9 win range and being able to compete for a wild card spot is definitely not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, there was a ton of people that were buying a lot of Titans hype this past season. I mean, they made so many additions on their defense. I mentioned some of the offensive additions. So they brought in a lot of talent, but what really sank the ship for this team was their quarterback position. If you bring in Cam Ward, who has multiple years of college experience playing for several different programs, and he can just be an average quarterback in year #1, why can't Tennessee be able to compete, especially in one of the weaker divisions in football? So I think the Titans have a chance to be a really entertaining team in 2025 if Cam Ward can have the immediate impact I believe he will. And if all goes right in Nashville, we could be looking at the next elite quarterback in just a couple of years down the road. But I want to know what you think about Cam Ward as a prospect and how good you think he will be. Do you think Ward will flame out in the NFL, or do you think he has the chance to reach his full potential on Tennessee and be one of the best quarterbacks in the league? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But subscribe to the channel if you are new. Drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in my next one.